Jack Jacobs, and I'm in the pits with Richard Pennell Jr., the winner of the mini stock main event last night. Richard, it looks like you had that car dialed in last night. How about it?
Yeah, it's handling better than I ever had.
You really just took away from the rest of the pack, and nobody could catch you last night.
Yeah, I haven't. The funny thing is, I haven't done a thing to it. Last night, I stayed on the trailer from the last race about a month ago, and I haven't done a thing to it since.
Now, is that your first main event win in your career, or just this year?
I had one at Globe.
But first one here at Raven Raceway, huh?
Right.
How about your pit crew here and your number one lady, Tina Marie? Has she been real supportive of you this year?
Oh yeah, she's our the club's secretary and treasurer, and she's helping out quite a bit.
Tina, you having a lot of fun this year?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
you do all the paperwork and you run around and you take care of a lot of things. How do you feel about Richard and his racing career so far?
It's okay. I mean, you know, it's exciting when he wins, but
it was real exciting last night. Huh?
Yeah, I had a good time. It's a lot of fun.
She says she'll kill me if I flip it over.
Well, listen, good luck to you. Just a quick interview with you, and congratulations on last night's main event win.
Thank you.
You've been a good competitor, and I know you'll be back out here next year.
Oh yeah.
And you gonna have the same car?
We're debating that right now. See how it does today.
Yeah, we're keeping it.
Guess we're keeping it.
We're keeping it. Okay, Richard Pennell, the winner of the main event mini stocks last night. Thanks, Dan.
Individual trophies for this day's race. The other thing is, for a lot of you guys who haven't raced here before, we'll have the left hand on helmet start.
take off your hats and sing along with the Mormon Tabernacle Choir, our national anthem. And also, folks, we have the MIA flag that is flying above the other Budweiser sign, and POW flag. Appreciate the support for those people and their efforts. I'll tell you what, it was awful hard getting all that choir up here in the press box. Got a little bit crowded. But anyway, we're all set and ready to go with our first quad race of the afternoon. In quad number 51 from Tucson, Troy Bell. And he's sponsored, well, he's looking for a sponsor. Dan Kennedy in number 33. Dan sponsored by Domino's Pizza. Richard Beckett, a top contender this year at Raven Raceway in the number 121. Sponsored by Tucson ATV, Raven Raceway, and, oh, I like this, Boomer Electric. Chuck Spaniard in number 1553. Chuck from Tucson, sponsored by Tough Off-Road. Suzuki of Tucson, number 1553. Number 68 will be driven by Pat Henney. Pat sponsored by Tucson ATV and Cycle, and Tough Off-Road, number 68 of Pat Henney. Ed Phillips piloting number 28, Ed from Sarita, Arizona. He's got a three-wheeler. Mac McCartney with 1445. That's Mac McCarthy in 1445, sponsored by Desert Kawasaki. Don Weiser in 1482. Don sponsored by Tough Off-Road and Eastside Cycle. He's a sportsman. Troy Johnson driving number 44. Troy from Picacho, Arizona, sponsored by Casa Grande, Kawasaki, and Suzuki. Neil Rust in the quad number 10, sponsored by Tough Off-Road, Americana Hotel, and Chevron. George Barry driving number 84, sponsored by Tough Off-Road, and Corby Lachat, sponsored by CAI Communications out of Indiana, number 50. And keep your eye on that number 121. Richard Beckett will be driving that vehicle in the ICE Championship at the Tucson Community Center November 20th and 21st. And he's going to have to take his brakes off that vehicle. No brakes for those guys. Okay, this is what we call a Riverside start here at Raven Raceway. That's Pat Kazaar, your flagman for the bikes. And he's getting them all lined up, set, and ready to go. Pat Kazaar, your flagman for the motorcycles and quads. Dick Patterson, your flagman for the off-road vehicles. George Camp, your flagman for the mini stocks. Pat Kazaar puts his hand on his head. Oh, drops the green flag, but picks it up again. And here we go, our first quad race of the afternoon. As they head into the hairpins. Track looks fairly dry at this time. Let's see how it fares later on this afternoon. Looks like number 8 is out in front right now. Number 8. So 8 is your leader right now with 121. Richard Beckett right behind him. Richard's the one that's going to be over at the community center the 20th and 21st. Rick Clark is your current leader right now, but he's being challenged in that number 121 machine by Richard Beckett. Both these guys battling all year long. Pat Hanning in number 68 holding on to third position as they come out of the hairpins. Rick Clark leaps over the jumps and into the last corner. Neil Russ holding on to fourth position right now. Rick Clark still holding on the lead, but being challenged by Richard Beckett and Pat Hanning. And look at this, side by side, number 121 jumps out in front. Richard Beckett takes the lead over Rick Clark in that number 8 machine. Beckett leads him on in through the hairpins. Clark falls back, and Clark holds on to second position. Nope, looks like Pat Hanning in second. Clark falling back to third. Beckett leads him through the hairpins, headed for the last turns. We've got one machine all by itself. The driver getting back toward it. Yellow flag comes out at that last turn. Beckett leads him down the front straightaway, and up over the jump he goes. Look at Beckett pouring on, headed toward the hairpins with Pat Hanning and Rick Clark putting on a good challenge, but Beckett looking mighty fine out there. Into the hairpins they go. Pat Hanning closes it up just a little bit. Let's see what Pat and Clark can do right now as Beckett goes wide. Pat takes him underneath and takes over the lead coming out of the hairpins. Beckett falls back into second position. Now Clark is right behind Beckett. Clark trying to leap side by side with him, can't catch him. Pat Hanning running into some traffic with a three-wheeler. Pat goes wide, brings it back down. Beckett putting out the line right now, trying to throw in Pat Hanning. Here comes Beckett once again. Almost had him right there. Now Beckett leaps to the side of him. Hanning goes wide. Beckett side by side into the hairpins. Beckett overtakes Hanning and takes the lead. Rick Clark now putting the challenge on Pat Hanning in that number 68. What a battle for the lead between these three quads. Richard Beckett right now falls back in the second. Pat Hanning jumps out in the first. Clark still in second position. We've got one down at turn number 4. And the battle goes on between those three guys. Look at that side by side. Clark trying to make it on the outside. Here they are, three abreast going into the hairpins. What exciting racing this is. And now into the hairpins they go. Looks like Beckett jumps out in front once again in that green quad, that Tucson ATV Raven Raceway sponsorship. Also Boomer Electric or Electric Bomber. Somebody changed it on me right in the middle here. Oh, Bomber Electric. So Beckett leads him down the front straightaway. Pat Hanning still trying to put on the charge and overtake Beckett. Pat in 68, Beckett in 121, Clark in number 8. Now they open up just a little bit. Beckett about to run into some traffic in the hairpins. Let's see if Pat Hanning in 68 can take advantage of Beckett's traffic. But then again, Pat Hanning also going to have to fare through the traffic. Okay, Beckett runs into the traffic right now, slows him up a little bit. Pat Hanning puts a charge on. Pat closes up the gap. Rick Clark still hanging in there. Rick running into the same traffic. Beckett goes a little bit wide, and Hanning stays down the middle. Now Beckett opens it up once again. Rick Clark putting on a charge, trying to take over Pat Hanning. Dan Kennedy, Neil Russ still in the thick of things. In that number 10 machine, Neil Russ, Dan Kennedy in number 33. Now Beckett still your current leader. Pat Kazaar still holding out that green flag. White flag coming around pretty soon. If Pat Hanning and Rick Clark are going to make a move, they better pour it on right now. Beckett pours it on as he heads toward that last turn. Now Beckett goes a little bit wide, not quite up against the berm, but Pat Hanning takes the same groove. Now Pat goes on the outside. Beckett takes the inside groove. Rick Clark also taking the outside groove. Richard Beckett in 121, still your current leader, heads him into the hairpin. Hanning closes it up just a little bit, but then falls back. Now Beckett running into a three-wheeler, not actually, but having a little bit of traffic in front of him at the last hairpin. The three-wheeler stalls, goes up on two wheels. Now Hanning once again closes it up. Hanning getting close to Beckett. Clark falling back about 7 or 8 bike lengths. Now all of a sudden, here comes Pat Hanning putting on the charge right behind Richard Beckett. White flag out, one more lap. Pat Hanning's got his work cut out for him. One more lap to go in this one. Richard Beckett leads Hanning into the hairpins. This is going to be right down to the wire because Pat Hanning's going to really pour it on. Okay, Beckett now heads in to the second to the last hairpin. Now toward the last hairpin. Hanning right behind him. Let's see what happens here. Hanning on the inside, Beckett on the outside. Hanning right on his rear. Here they go, headed for the last turns. Beckett in a little bit of a traffic. Let's see if Hanning can take advantage. Doesn't look like it. Beckett goes on the outer groove. Hanning tries to take the inner groove. Looks like Richard Beckett takes the checkered flag. Pat Hanning winds up in second place. Rick Clark in third. Neil Rust in fourth. Corby Lachat in fifth. And Troy Bell winds up in sixth. Some good racing by Richard Beckett, Pat Hanning, Rick Clark, and the rest of them. Good close competition for all three of these vehicles. Good exciting off-road racing. The Miller Championship. Richard Beckett, the fellow that won that race, will be at the Tucson Community Center November 20th and 21st for the ice quad races. It's this year. Okay, off-road racing here at Raven Raceway. Starting off with number 35 will be Don Colt. And Don Colt sponsored by Black Dynamic Engines, Oracle and Wetmore Car Wash. He's a pro driving car number 35. Ed Martinson in number 57. Ed sponsored by Martinson Enterprises. Driving car number 57, also in the pro division. John Brockett driving number 28. John from Tucson, sponsored by Brockett Electric. Mike Williams in the number 22 rail. He's a pro, sponsored by Off-Road Buggy Supplies, Black Dynamic, Astrolite, and Trip Racing Gas. Frank Granados of the Burrito Racing Team, Burrito Brothers Racing Team, driving car number 12. Frank sponsored by Al's VW, Loose Dirt, and Raven Raceway. Dick Patterson gives them the green flag, and here we go, an off-road competition, side by side, 3 by 3, headed into the hairpin. Brad Campbell in 105. Brad sponsored by Ernest and Ernest VW Auto Recyclers. Tim Knight in 14, sponsored by Wade's Automotive and Lizard Chassis. Here we go, right out in front with Don Colt taking an early lead and getting a little bit sloppy there, coming out of that last hairpin. Dust flying up in the air. Colt goes on 2 wheels, headed for the last turn. Don Colt in number 35 is your current leader. Brad Campbell in 105 in second position. And Ed Martinson in number 57 holding on to third. Tim Knight, the Pro 14, holds on to fourth position. Frank Granados in number 12 in fifth. Mike Williams in 22 and 6. And John Brockett bringing up the rear. Okay, let's hear what happens as they go through the next hairpin, or see what happens, I should say. Don Colt in 35, still leading it, and your second and third place cars get tangled up coming out of the hairpins, but they get untangled and try to throw out the line and reel in that guy right there, car number 35 of Don Colt, that Black Dynamic Engines Oracle Wetmore Car Wash car. Don opens up the gap from Brad Campbell in 105. Ed Martinson trying to catch up to Brad Campbell. Ed driving number 57. Tim Knight in 14. Tim, a top contender here at Raven Raceway this year, trying to catch up to Ed Martinson. Frank Granados also trying to make his way toward the front, along with Mike Williams at number 22. Now, Don Colt being challenged by Brad Campbell. Brad had a chance to close up the gap, but got stuck there coming out of the last hairpin. But Brad really pours it on. So does Ed Martinson in 57. And Ed takes the inner side of the racetrack as Don Colt takes the outer perimeter, and Don leads him into the hairpins. Don Colt, your current leader. Brad Campbell in number 105 in second place. Ed Martinson in 57 in third. Frank Granados, Tim Knight, and Mike Williams. Now Williams overtakes Tim Knight to hold on to fifth position. Well, Don Colt looking real good out there. That 35 machine, that car that just came out of the hairpin, is your leader. Now the battle goes for Brad Campbell in 105 and Ed Martinson in 57. And Ed making a good challenge on Brad Campbell in that number 105 machine. Colt opens up the margin right now on those second and third place cars. But look at Martinson putting on a challenge. Martin tries to take Campbell on the inside, cannot get him. Here they go into the hairpins. Martinson on the outside this time overtakes Brad Campbell And Martinson winds up in second position. And Campbell falls back into third. Looks like Campbell might have some kind of either handling or engine problem because Campbell has fallen back drastically. Okay, Don Colt, there's your leader right there with Pat, I should say, Dick Patterson, your flagman, and signing out with the halfway marker. Halfway through this one, yep, just as I suspected, Brad Campbell in 105 having some kind of mechanical difficulty. Up, he's got a flat tire on his right rear, holding on to second position, and winds up in the pits, holding on to no position, but he'll change that tire and he'll be back out here just a little bit later. Don Colt, currently your leader right now in 35, and nobody's going to catch him if he can just hold on. Well, wait a minute now. There's Ed Martinson, and Ed's starting to close it up a little bit on Don. Not a whole lot of time left. There goes some kind of debris out on the racetrack as one of your safety crew gets out there and somebody lost a hubcap or a helmet or something. Hope it's not his helmet. Okay, Don Colton, 35, leads it on. Ed Martinson, 57, in second place. Frank Granados in number 12. Hey, Frank holding on to third. Mike Williams in 22 in fourth, and Tim Knight in 14th, holding on to fifth place. And Tim not looking as good as he has throughout this year. Tim may not have that thing dialed in so far. Well, it looks like the battle goes on, and look at Ed Martinson in 57. Put the challenge on Don Colt, and Ed pours it on, and Ed now giving him some real good competition. Don Colt also pours it on. Oh, what a good corner Don took that time, but Martinson also makes it through the last hairpin with no problem. Don Colt up on two wheels coming out of that corner. Don taking the center of the racetrack, Martinson on the outer side of the racetrack. White flag out. Let's see if Martinson can catch him. Don Colt currently holding on to that lead throughout this whole entire race. Colt in first place, Mike Williams in third place now. Frank Granados falling out of this one, and Frank getting stuck over there by the hay. Don Colt in 35 being challenged on Ed Martinson, or by Ed Martinson. Let's see if Don can catch him, or if Ed can catch him, I should say. Oh, look at the wheelie he did that time. Down to the checkered flag they come. Don Colt, your leader, and currently he is your winner as Martinson goes on his side and tries to catch him, but just can't get up there. So Don Colt wins it. That black Dynamic Engines Oracle Wetmore car wash car number 35, Don Colt. Ed Martinson winds up in second place. Ed putting on a good charge, just couldn't catch Mr. Colt. Mike Williams in number 22 winds up in third. Tim Knight in 14th holds on to fourth position. So some good close competition in that off-road race. Good racing out there. Try to get one of the Burrito brothers off the racetrack. And, well, if he can get that car going again, he'll be back out here for the main events. If he can't, he'll be making some more chili in the snack bar. He stocks and he puts up his one finger and the yellow flag and tells him one more time around. Mini stock racing at Raven Raceway on the widest 3/8 in the West. Doug Turner, your pole sitter for the mini stocks. Aaron Davis, your outside pole. Front position, car number 11, Richard Pennell Jr., car number 184, John Hall in the 4, Jess Brown driving number 1, Steve Reeves in 93, Pat Bush in 130, Chuck Campbell in 104, Roy Ray 183, Dick Kelm in 63, and Tom Sevis in number 22. Steve Reeves, looks like he's not in this one, couldn't make it out on the racetrack. Having some car problems, and he's going to fix it for the main event. Okay, your flagman, George Camp, on the flag stand with green flag in hand. Here they go into turn number 3. Off the number 4 corner they come. George Camp eyeballs them. And we're on the green for mini stock racing as Doug Turner and car number 99 leads them down the front straightaway. Aaron Davis jumps out into early lead as car number 99 falls back into second position. Richard Pennell Jr. and car number 184 holding on to third place. Aaron Davis in car number 11 taking that lead from early on. heads into turn number 3 and toward turn number 4. Let's see if Doug Turner and Richard Pinnell can catch him. Ed taking the outer part of the racetrack or down the center of the racetrack, leads him through the front straightaway. Here comes Dick Kelm in car number 63, jumping into 4th place right now. Dick Kelm driving for Kathy. Aaron Davis in car number 11 being challenged by Doug Turner in car number 99. Don't count Richard Pinnell Jr. in the car number 184 in 3rd position. Here goes the battle right now for 1st place. Aaron Davis in car number 11. Doug Turner on 99 tries to take over Aaron on the outside, but winds up falling back just a little bit, about a car length behind. Dick Pinnell Jr. in car number 184, the winner of last night's main event, is now currently in 3rd position. Lap number 3 coming up. Aaron Davis in car number 11 leads him down the front straightaway. Doug Turner in 99 holding on to 3rd position. Richard Pinnell Jr. in 3rd right now, and look at the challenge going on by car number 63 of Mr. Dick Kelm. And Kelm trying to put the moves and jump into 4th place. The battle goes on for 4th place right now down the back straightaway between car number 183 and Dick Kelm in car number 63. That's Roy Ray and the battle going on for that. Aaron Davis opens up the gap between that car number 99, and 99 falls back into 3rd as Richard Pinnell Jr. holds on to 2nd position. Davis opens up about 10 car lengths right now on your 2nd place car, car number 184. Doug Turner in 3rd place. But look at that, Roy Ray in 183 holding on to 4th position. Dick Kelm in 63 holding on to 5th. Oh, we've got one going way wide up on turn number 4. Look out. Oh, he gets it under control again and falls back to the back of the pack. Number 11 holding on to this race right now. Doug Turner, 99, in 2nd place. Richard Pinnell Jr. Uh-oh, Richard getting tangled up on the back straightaway and falling way back. Dick Kelm in car number 63 winds up in 2nd position, or 3rd position right now. Aaron Davis in number 11. Aaron holding his own right now. Nobody's going to catch him if he can just hang on. Dick Kelm in 63 doing a good job driving for Kathy Kelm today. 184 has got a flat tire. It looks like Mr. Pinnell is going to wind up at the back of the pack. White flag flies for that guy, Aaron Davis in car number 11. One more lap to go. Doug Turner doesn't look like he's going to catch him, but it's not over till it's over. Car number 63 of Dick Kelm. And look at the battle going on between car number 1 and 130. This is going to be right down to the wire for 4th and 5th position. Here comes your current leader, Aaron Davis in car number 11. Aaron Davis flies down the front straightaway for the checker flag and wins it as Doug Turner winds up in 2nd place. Here comes Dick Kelm in 3rd, and look at the battle for 4th place right now, side by side. It's 130, winds up in 4th place. And who was that in 5th, Tony? Car number 1 winds up in 5th of Jesse Brown. And a good, close competition. But Aaron Davis led it just about all the way. He was being challenged by the winner last night's main event, Richard Pinnell Jr., 184, and Richard wound up with a flat tire. So here he comes down the front straightaway. Let's make him feel welcome. The winner of the first race for the mini stocks, car number 11, Aaron Davis. Good job, Aaron. Had her all the way. Nobody was going to catch that guy. He's got it really tuned in. Joe sponsored by Bud's Outback, driving bike number 6. Stacy Miller in number 48, Stacy from Tucson, sponsored by Eastside Cycle. Ed Hitchcock in number 82, sponsored by Tucson ATV and Cycle. Pro Circuit Brothers, Bonanza Brothers Racing Team. Larry Jeffers in number 53, Larry from Tucson. Hap Reese in number 27, sponsored by Cycle George Reese Construction Company. Ron Watmore in number 84, Ron sponsored by Eastside Cycle. Cass Morgan in 255. Cass is a 125 sportsman. 125 cc, that is. Matt McGinnis in number 00. McGinnis Saw Shop and Supply sponsors him. Matt McGinnis, 00. Carlos Serrano in number 49. Carlos sponsored by Eastside Cycle, Serrano Ranch and Feed. Malcolm Smith, bike number 49 of Carlos Serrano. Willie Garrar in number 321. Willie from Marana, Arizona, sponsored by Ultimate Cycle Works. Bob McKinney in number 62. Bob sponsored by Blue Circle and driving number 62. Okay, Pat Kazaar, your flagman for your bikes. Riverside start. Pat gives him the green flag, and here we go into motorcycle racing on the off-road Miller Championship race course. Here they go, headed into the first of the hairpins, and let's see who we have in the lead. Looks like number 00 of Matt McGinnis leading them on through the hairpins, and Matt leads them down the center straightaway, and up over the jumps they go. Matt McGinnis goes a little bit wide and up on the berm like a lot of them like to do. Comes down the front straightaway and up over the jump he goes. Number 48 currently holding on to second position. That's Stacy Miller in number 48, and he's about the closest one up to Matt McGinnis driving that number 00. But Mr. Stacy has some company right on his rear, and right alongside of him right now, that number 129 bike. 129, a top contender here at Raven Raceway, of Don Ziff. And Don Ziff putting the challenge on, and number 6, Joe Reed, overtakes Ziff, and Joe winds up in third position. Here comes McGinnis up on the berm down the front straightaway. Pat Kazaar keeping the green flag out. That 00 machine is your leader. Stacy Miller in second place, but look at the battle going on right there between number 6 bike. That's Joe Reed driving that number 6. Into the hairpins they go. Number 48 is in second. Number 6 is in third place right now. And looks like Larry Jeffers in number 53 holding on to 4th. That's the way they stack up. Number 129 falling back into 5th position. That's Don Ziff falling back all the way into 5th. And Don was right up there almost in second place at one time. Now, number 48, that's Stacy Miller, trying to catch up to that guy right there, that 00 machine in the hairpins of Matt McGinnis. That McGinnis Saw Shop by Roy McGinnis. That's who Matt's sponsor is. And Matt runs into some traffic, a lap vehicle, and Matt just holding his own. Pops a wheelie, heads down the center straightaway, and up over the jumps he goes. 48, Stacy Miller in second place right now. And the battle goes on for third place, a couple of them side by side, changing hands there. Some of them like to go wide, some like to hold it on the inside. Your 48 bike is in second, number 6, Joe Reed in third, and now Don Ziff in number 129 holding on to 4th position. Ziff trying to throw out the line and reel in that number 6 bike who has fallen back. And let's see how they fare. 00 currently still your leader. Number 48, Stacy Miller, still in second place. And Don Ziff trying to pour it on. Hey, there goes number 6. And Joe Reed challenging Don Ziff in that number 129. Halfway, Pat Kazaar shows the flags crossed. That means halfway through this one. And 48 being challenged by Ziff. And Joe Reed in number 6 trying to catch up to the rest of them. All right, your leader right there. Okay, see the hairpin right there? That's your leader, number 00. That's Matt McGinnis, who leads it all right now. And doesn't look like anybody's going to catch him unless Matt has some kind of mechanical problem or overdrives her a little bit. Matt goes high up on the berm, and watch him head over this last jump. Up and over he goes, and almost to that white line painted down there by Pat Kazaar. Your second place bike is now number 129 of Don Ziff, overtaking Stacy Miller, who has fallen back in the third. Joe Reed in number 6 is holding on to 4th, and Larry Jeffers in number 53 holding on to 5th place right now. Matt McGinnis still your leader coming out of that last hairpin. If you've lost him, there he is right there popping that wheelie and jumping over that jump. Here he comes right now down the front straightaway out of that last turn. Okay, this bike right here coming up 00, that's your leader if you lost him. Right there in front of the flag, man. 00, your leader of Matt McGinnis. Here's your second place bike, number 129 of Don Ziff. Your third place is number 48 of Stacy Miller. And look at the battle going on between 53, Larry Jeffers overtakes Joe Reed at that number 6. And some good close action. Joe Reed in number 6 or on number 6 or piloting number 6 or something to that effect. Matt McGinnis still your current leader in that 00 bike, and Matt looking mighty fine, really has that bike dialed in. Your leader down the front straightaway. Your closest bike to him right now is number 129. Not that one there, but this fella right here, number 129, that's your second place bike. Your third place bike is number 53 of Larry Jeffers, and Larry making his way up toward the front. Joe Reed now holding on to 4th, and Stacy Miller in 48 falling back into 5th place. Matt McGinnis still holding his own if Matt can just hang on a short more while, because I see the white flag in the hand of our flagman, Pat Kazaar. Here comes your leader down the front straightaway, and he gets the white flag. One more to go, and he's going to win it, Matt McGinnis. He hasn't won it yet, as you've seen in the past. 129, Don Ziff in second. That bike right there, Larry Jeffers in third, number 6 in fourth, and Stacy Miller in fifth. Your leader, Matt McGinnis, going into his final hairpin. In and out of the hairpin he goes, down the center straightaway, and headed for the checkered flag if he can just hold on a little while longer. Okay, Matt McGinnis pours it on, hits up toward the berm, up on that berm, down the center straightaway. Pat Kazaar picks up the checkered flag and waves it for that guy, 00, Matt McGinnis. Don Ziff in number 129 pours it on also, and Ziff winds up in second place. The battle goes on right now here between Jeffers, and Jeffers takes third. Number 6 winds up in fourth, Joe Reed, and number 48, Stacy Miller, winds up in 5th place. So some good close competition for your second and third place motorcycles. Your first place guy, Matt McGinnis, had it all the way. Good racing, I'll tell you what. Close competition here at Raven. Let's give him a good hand. The bike number 00 from Tucson, Matt McGinnis. All right, we're already lined up for our next race. Pat Kazaar, your flag man. Eyeballs him at the Riverside Start at Raven Raceway. Pat puts his hand on his head, tells him, get ready. Green flag flies, and here we go again. An off-road wheelie type racing on the off-road track here at the widest 3/8 in the West. 84, Ron Wetmore jumps out into front through the hairpins and leads him on down, but he's got company right on his rear. And it looks like Carlos Serrano in 49 in second position. Looks like number 17 is that in third. That's John Beaver. And 82 of Ed Hitchcock's holding on to 4th place. There's your leader right now, Ron Wetmore. That number 84, 49's in second, 17, John Beaver in third, and side by side they go, headed toward the hairpin. Well, let's see how they stack up now as they come through the last hairpin. We know that Ron Wetmore is your current leader. He's being challenged by Carlos in that number 49, and Carlos holding on to second position, John Beaver in 17 and third. Looks like 82, Ed Hitchcock's holding on to 4th. And I think that's Cass Morgan in 255 and 5th. Let's see what happens when they come around this last turn. Yep, that's Cass Morgan in 255. And Cass trying to overtake Ed Hitchcock's in 82. Cass goes on the side of him. Let's see if he can take advantage in the hairpin. Now Cass takes him on the inside, almost gets him, and now he's side by side with him out of that last 2 hairpins. Cass right there on the tail of 17 of John Beaver. John better watch out because he's got a lot of company on his rear right now. But nope, 255 overtakes Ed Hitchcock's in number 82, and Ed falls back into 5th. Now, Mr. Cass Morgan in 255 is going to put the challenge on there of bike number 17 of John Beaver. And look at that, Cass Morgan pours it on. Cass on the inside, Beaver on the outside. Here they go into the hairpins. Oh, Beaver almost lost it. Cass catches him on the inside. Now Cass overtakes him in the hairpins. There goes Cass Morgan in the 3rd position right now. Ron Wetmore in 84, still your current leader. Carlos Serrano in 49 in second place. And your leader, that number 84 Eastside Angels bike, is right there on the front straightaway. Car number 4, or bike number 49, I should say, creature of habit here, in second position. And your third place bike, number 255, has his work cut out for him because they've got about a quarter of a lap on him. John Beaver in 17, holding on to fourth place. Ed Hitchcock in 82, holding on to fifth. Ron Wetmore, number 84. Ron pours it on, and look at him go up on that berm, and watch him head over this jump. Up and over he goes, and toward the white line and flagman. And hey, he's got a company of Carlos Serrano in number 49, and Carlos starting to close the gap up just a little bit on Ron Wetmore. Uh-oh, Wetmore having a little bit of a problem by those two tires, but gets it back under control. Wetmore takes it out of the last hairpin. Serrano trying to take advantage of him in 49, and Serrano still right on his rear. Wetmore goes up on that berm, way high on the berm. So does Carlos, and Carlos in 49 runs into a little bit of traffic, but pours it on and headed into the last hairpin. Green flag still flying all around this racetrack. Ron Wetmore in 84 being challenged by that number 49 bike. And now Wetmore going to have a little bit of traffic at the hairpin. Let's see if Carlos Serrano in 49 can take advantage of it. Nope. Closes it up a little bit just for an instant, but falls back once again. These two bikes look like they're real evenly matched, pretty well evenly matched. Serrano taking the inner road this time. Go, my goodness, and there goes Wetmore in 84, taking a bad spill. Oh, the yellow flag comes out as Ron Wetmore in number 84 flips it on the front straightaway. Carlos Serrano in 49 holds on to the lead. So Carlos Serrano in 49 now is holding on to first place as we've had a little bit of a mishap on the front straightaway. We've got a little girl that's lost. She's got blue coveralls and a red shirt at the concession area. A little girl with a blue coverall and red shirt at the concession area. So the green flag still flies. Carlos Serrano getting tangled up with Ron Wetmore in 84, and Wetmore coming on the lower end of that one. And Serrano currently is your leader in that bike number 49. White flag out for that man right there who is concerned, as you can see him looking back. Carlos Serrano in number 49. Looks like Cass Morgan holding on to second position right now in number 255. Ed Hitchcock in number 82. We've got him in third position. Nope, 255 in second. That's right, Ed Hitchcock in third. Okay, the checkered flag is in the hand of Pat Kazaar, your flagman, as Carlos Serrano in number 49 heads for the checkered flag. And Serrano comes across the finish line and wins this one in that number 49 bike. And as you can see, he is really concerned about his buddy over there of Ron Wetmore in 84. And looks like Ron's okay. Let's give Ron Wetmore a good hand, folks, in number 84, along with Carlos Serrano and number 49 winning this one, and Wetmore putting on a great effort. Looks like Ed Hitchcock and bike number 82 winds up in third place. John Beaver in number 17 unofficially holds on to fourth position. Checker flag for the rest of them, as Carlos Serrano in number 49, sponsored by Eastside Cycles, Serrano Ranch and Feed, and Malcolm Smith. Carlos from Tucson, bike number 49 wins it. Number 33, John, sponsored by Sportsman. I'm sorry, by Tough Off-Road. He is a sportsman. Larry Vitito, number 199. Larry sponsored by Lizard Chassis. Larry a top contender this year. That number 199 bug. Robert Giblin in 617. Robert sponsored by Gary's Auto and Family. Driving 617 of Robert Giblin. Ted Klein in number 218. Ted sponsored by Division 2, Division Automotive, and Lizard Chassis. Tony Hooper in rail number 50. Tony sponsored by Susie Hooper, his wife, and Gravel Express. Ted Klein, Sportsman Unlimited of Tony Hooper in rail number 50. Kent Henderson in 07. Kent looking for a sponsor. Kent also from Tucson. Ron Colucci in number 908. Ron sponsored by Burris White Machinery and Colucci Fabrication, driving the Sportsman Unlimited 908 of Ron Colucci. Greg Granados in number 12. Greg sponsored by Al's VW, Raven Raceway, and Looster. Greg from Tucson driving that rail number 12. Dave Anderson driving number 3. Pete Corwin in 35. John Sprocket in number 28. I think that's John Brockett. And John sponsored by Loose Dirt, Black Dynamic, and Tucson ATV. Dick Patterson, your flagman for the off-road vehicles. And Dick gets them all lined up in what we call a Riverside start here at Raven Raceway. Patterson confers with one of the other officials and safety, or flagmen, I should say. Side by side starting on the off-road course. Patterson eyeballs him. Everybody revs their engine. Patterson looks at him, shakes his head. No, not ready yet. Looks like they're getting ready now. Let's see what happens. Pat backs up just a little bit. Green flag in hand. They rev their engine. Pat tells them, hold on just a second, and green flag flies. As John Nole, 33, and Larry Bittino lead him down the front straightaway, and we've already got one off the course. Okay, here we go. Dust a flying, and into the hairpins they go. Looks like 57 out in front. Number 57 out in front. Ooh, up on the sides they go. Okay, let's see how they fare as they come down that front straightaway. Number 33, your current leader of John Nole, being challenged by number 57. John Nole driving number 33. Martinson and 57, they get tangled up, they get side by side, and it looks like 57 overtakes John Nole. And they get tangled up once again, and Nole comes out the victor on that one in 33, and Nole winds up holding on to first position as 57 winds up in second place. Oh, and they're getting all tangled up at the hairpin. Nole pours it on. 57 in second position. Number 35 of Pete Corwin holding on to third. Martinson in second position as Nole leads him through the hairpin. That 33 car right there, that's your leader. And look at that, Pete Corwin taking advantage of Martinson falling off the racetrack. Now, hey, you can't do that. Oh, I guess you can if you're headed toward the pits. Well, 57's off and headed toward the pits. Number 33, John Nole, your current leader. Pete Corwin in 35, your closest one. Number 50, Tony Hooper in third position. Number 199, Larry Bittito, holding on to fourth place. Ted Klein in 218 in fifth. And Dave Anderson in number 3 in sixth place. John Nole, that 33 car, is your leader. And the closest man to him is 35 of Pete Corwin. And Pete closes it up a little bit. Nole goes up on the brim right there. And Nole, almost losing it. And Corwin taking advantage, closing it up right now on John Nole. Corwin driving 35, Nole driving 33. There's your third place car, Tony Hooper, number 50. There's your fourth place, number 199 of Larry Bittito. Number 218 is Ted Klein, and Dave Anderson falls back right behind Greg Granados, driving the Burrito Brothers Racing Team Raven Raceway sponsored car number 12. The battle goes on between those two guys, your front runners, John Nault in 33 and Pete Carwin in 35. And Pete desperately trying to catch up to John Nault. John Nault holding the inside of the racetrack. Pete Carwin in 35 taking it down the center. Pete closes it up right now, but Pete goes wide. Pete tries to take him on the outside. Nault holds it on the inside. Now Pete jumps into the inside. Side by side they go. Carwin overtakes Nault in number 35, and now Carwin's your leader. Nope, they're side by side again. Oh, what exciting racing action. There goes Nault on the inside of the racetrack, off the course. They're side by side again. Look at this, folks. Back and forth they go, really pouring it on and kicking up the dust. And number 33, John Nault, holds on to first place as Pete Carwin looks like it might have died out or something, falls way back about 5 or 6 car lengths behind John Nault in number 33. Nault trying to stave off Pete Carwin at number 35, and Carwin pours it on once again and closes it up once again. Almost get one on his side right there. Yellow flag comes out in that hairpin. Oh, the battle goes on between those two guys, John Nault and Pete Carwin. What a race this is. Nault out in front, but he's got company, that number 35 car right on his rear door. And he doesn't even have a rear door. John Nault in 33 gets the white flag. Carwin's going to have to really pour it on, headed into the hairpin. 33 on the, oh, look at this, side by side. Carwin overtakes him, but it's not over yet. Carwin jumps out in the lead for a moment. Nault falls back into second. Now Carwin gets about a car length, maybe 2. Into the last hairpin they go and headed for home. Carwin in 35 taking the lead over John Nault in 33. It's not over yet. They're heading toward the last turn. Carwin pours it on the inner part of the track. Nault pours it on the outer part of the track. Here they come down to the finish line. It looks like it's going to be car number 35, Pete Carwin, and John Nault winds up in second place. And we've got one on its lid over at that last turn. And the ambulance headed over there. Looks like he's okay. We'll give you a report just as soon as we can. Greg Granados is not upside down. There he goes into the pits. And the driver's out of the car. He looks like he's okay. That's Larry Vitito in number 199. Let's let him hear it, folks. Number 199 of Larry Vitito. He's okay. Whew, that's close. But they put her on her lid every so often in off-road racing. As you can see, it's somewhat of an obstacle course out there. Boy, was that some good, close competition between number 35, Pete Carwin, and John Nault in number 33. Boy, isn't that a good-looking automobile? Yeah, he drives it like a late model. I think I'll put the clock on this guy, see what kind of time he turns. Not a bad time, 21.52 100ths. Boy, he's really cranking that machine. Checker flag flies for number 1 mini stock. say we all take about a 15-minute intermission. Head on back to the snack bar, 184. Richard, sponsored by All Exhaustic Systems. Chuck Campbell in 104. Chuck sponsored by Sponsors Needed. If you'd like to sponsor a race car, get involved in racing, see Chuck Campbell II in car number 104. John Hall in number 4, inside second row. John sponsored by Highway Drive Repair, Arizona Frame and Axle. Tony Sebes in number 22, sponsored by Rovers West. Roy Ray in number 183, inside third row, sponsored by All Exhaust Systems. Jesse Brown on the outside of Roy Ray, driving that number 1. Jesse from Tucson, sponsored by Engines, etc. Pat Bush inside fourth row, driving number 130, the Domino's Pizza car of Pat Bush. Dick Kelm really pushing that machine this afternoon in number 63, driving for his daughter Kathy. Outside row number 4. Doug Turner, 99, inside row number 5. Doug from Albuquerque, New Mexico, sponsored by Woody's Auto Repair. That's Woody's Auto Repair. Number 99 of Doug Turner. Aaron Davis, number 11 from Tucson, outside fourth row. Sponsors needed for Aaron Davis. And bringing up the rear in the car number 93, sponsored by Only Interior, Steve Reeves from Tucson. Want to wish a happy birthday to Buddy McCade, or Buddy McDade. Happy birthday, Buddy McDade. And happy birthday to, they call him Chuck Campbell II. They also call him Chuckles, his 21st birthday. And Chuck is driving, let's see, Chuck's driving that car number 104. Hey, let's do this for Chuck. He's on the outside at number 104. On the count of 3, let's all yell out, happy birthday, Chuck. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday, Chuck. Hey, happy 21st birthday. Boy, to be 21, I'd kill for 30 right now. The main event, this is the last race for the mini stocks this year. So they're going to really be pouring it on as they come off that turn number 4. George Camp, your flag man. George doing an excellent job this year. On the back straightaway, Jack Jacobs, your announcer. Doing a fair job. Tony Barrow also. Hey, would you folks do me a favor? Let's all come to your feet and cheer them on to victory as they come off that number 4 corner. Come on, let's get up and wave our hats and our handkerchiefs. Cheer them on to victory. Off the number 4 corner they come. Richard Pennell Jr. leads them down the front straightaway as Chuck Campbell jumps out in first place. The birthday boy, they call him Chuckles. We've got a spin out on the back corner over there between turn 1 and 2. That's car number 222 spinning out on the back. Or car number 22, I should say. And it looks like the yellow flag will be put out. And yellow flag flies as Chuck Campbell jumped out into first place. And number 22, I believe it is over there, spinning out. That's Tom Chavez, or Chavez, and number 22. And Tom taking somewhat of a 360, and he gets it back under his own power. Okay, that flag that the flagman George Camp has in his hand, the yellow and red flag, means a complete restart. We did not get one lap under the green flag, one full lap, so they'll go side by side and start this one over just as it never started. So George Camp shows them the complete restart flag. Didn't look like nobody was sleeping that time on the green, I'll tell you what. They were pouring it on. So back into the pole position, Richard Pennell Jr., number 184, Chuck Campbell. Chuckles, they call him on the outside. The main event for the mini stocks, the last main event at the widest 3/8 in the West. Down the back straightaway they go. Richard Pinnell Jr. leads him at a fairly moderate pace. Chuck Campbell on the outside front row. John Hall in number 4 inside. Tom Sevas in number 22 on the outside. Complete restart. George Camp eyeballs them as they come off the number 4 corner, and we're on the green flag as Richard Pinnell Jr. and Chuck Campbell lead him down the front straightaway side by side for the lead. And side by side they go around turn number 1 and 2. Campbell takes about a half a car length over Pinnell Jr. Pinnell Jr. hangs on right now. Pinnell Jr. about a half a car length. Now Chuck opens it up to a full car length right in front of Richard Pinnell Jr., the winner of last night's main event. Number 99 spins out, gets smacked over there between turn number 3 and 4, and the yellow flag comes out once again. Oh my goodness, that was close. Car number 99, Doug Turner, over there at between turn number 3 and 4. Looks like 93 of Steve Reeves, I believe, also in that mishap. As our Air National Guard fire crew and the paramedic rescue head on over there to check everybody out, make sure everybody's okay. So just can't seem to get that first lap underway between these mini stock drivers. You see that guy just below George Camp with those good-looking legs? You see him, huh? That's Charlie Clayton from KTKT and KLPX, doing a fine job, taking all the camera shots this year. Charlie, you need a little bit of a suntan, though. You're blinding me up here in the press box. And also, now he's starting to turn red. Cute legs, Charlie. Robin said, I can't have them. Tell you the truth, Robin, I don't want them. Oh, Robin said, mine are better looking, Chuck. Okay, Chuck Campbell, speaking of Chuck, Chuckles, the birthday boy, in first place right now. Looks like John Hall in that number 4 car will be in second position. Richard Pinnell Jr. holding on to third position. Number 183 of Roy Ray in fourth place. And look at that. Tom Chavez in number 22 in fifth. There, Jesse Brown in that number 1 car will be holding on to sixth place. Pat Bush in number 130 in seventh place. Dick Kelm driving 63 in eighth. And Aaron Davis in number 11 in ninth. And let's see if we get 93, Steve Reeves. Steve, are you going to stay out here, or are you headed into the pits? Looks like he's headed into the pits. Let's give him a good hand, folks, for a good effort. Car number 93 of Steve Reeves, the only interior car, making a good effort. And let's see if we can get 99 off the racetrack. 99 being driven by Doug Turner from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Well, I see Matt Dillon's not here tonight. Matt driving that Volvo, about 10 different colors. Well, Doug Turner's got his car back under his own power, and he's going to stay in this one. Good job, Doug. Spinning out over there at between turn 3 and 4. Doug will have to trail the rest of the fellas at the back of the pack. All right, single file restart. Here they come off of turn number 3, or through turn number 3, off of turn number 4. Camp gives him the green flag. Nobody's sleeping this time. Chuck Campbell, the birthday boy, takes him on down the front straightaway with John Hall and Richard Pinnell Jr. along with Roy Ray right on their rear. The battle goes on between first and second, between Chuck Campbell and John Hall. Also the battle between Richard Pennell Jr. and Roy Ray in number 183. Everybody clean and green right now. Campbell holding on to first position, but here comes John Hall in that car number 4. The birthday boy leads it, but John Hall is breathing right down his trunk as they head through turn 1 and 2. George Camp, turn your radio off. Your radio's stuck. Okay, here they come around turn number 4. Look at the close competition. 1, 2, 3, 4. Campbell, Hall, Pennell, and Roy. And here comes John Hall on the outside of Chuck Campbell. John Hall takes about a quarter of a car length, and Hall into the lead right now, but Campbell takes it back in number 104. Side-by-side action as they head into turn number 3. Chuck Campbell and John Hall. You can't get it any closer. Hall goes way wide. Campbell almost loses it, but gets it back. And John Hall jumps out into the front with Richard Pennell Jr. and Roy Ray right alongside of him. Here goes John Hall. Your leader takes it a little bit wide, and here comes Roy Ray jumping out in the second place with Chuck Campbell holding on the third right now. Richard Pennell Jr. in fourth in the car number 22, Tony Seves in fifth place. Here they come down the front straightaway. Lap number 4 going by. John Hall opens up the gap from your second place car number 183 of Roy Ray. Can they catch him? Chuck Campbell holding on to third position. 183 getting a little bit wobbly coming out of turn number 2, but he holds on to it. That's Roy Ray. Chuck Campbell desperately trying to throw out the line and reel back in Roy Ray in number 183. John Hall opens up the gap halfway through this one for Mr. Hall and the rest of them. Roy Ray in 183 holding on to second place with Chuck Campbell and Richard Pennell Jr. right behind him coming out of turn number 2. Can they catch that man? The Arizona Frame and Axle Highway Drive Repair car of car number 4, John Hall. John Hall leads him down the front straightaway. Roy Ray trying to put the pedal to the metal and catch Mr. Hall. And right behind Mr. Hall is Chuck Campbell, the birthday boy, and Richard Pennell Jr. And look out there in number 22. Number 22 thinks he's an off-roader. He's in the wrong race. Number 22, the off-road guys will be back out here shortly. Gets it back under his power. John Hall still leads it. Roy Ray in 183 being challenged by Chuck Campbell in 184. Hey, 22, get off the off-road course. This is a circle track race. I mean, that's what I call cheating, folks. Okay, Tom, good job of getting it back out there. But your lap this time. John Hall leads it all in car number 4 with Roy Ray and Chuck Campbell in 104. Chuck Campbell now your second place car. Mr. Roy Ray, what happened to Roy? Where did Roy go? Roy's all the way in the back. Looks like he may have a flat tire or some kind of mechanical problem. John Hall leads it all in number 4. Chuck Campbell in 104. And Chuck going a little bit wide. White flag comes out for John Hall in car number 4. Chuck Campbell in second place. In third place is Richard Pennell Jr. and Richard being challenged by Dick Kelm in number 63 with number 99. Right behind with Doug Turner. Half a lap to go for John Hall. Not even a half a lap. Here he comes around turn number 4 for the checkered flag. John Hall gets the checkered flag. Pennell goes way high. Campbell winds up in second. Dick Kelm winds up in third. Doug Turner takes fourth. Richard Pennell Jr. winds up in fifth. And car number 22 winds up back on the racetrack off the off-road course. And he is a lap car. So John Hall wins it all in car number 4. And car number 1, having some kind of mechanical problem, heads it in to the pits. So let's give him a good hand, folks. That car number 4, John Hall. Hey, happy birthday to Chuck Campbell II and number 104 winding up in second place. And let's give number 22 a hand for driving on the off-road course. Good job for all these guys. Well, that's it for this year for the many stocks, but stick around. We've got more off-road racing. Who knows? Maybe number 22 will be back out here. It's Pat Henning back out there in number 68. He's a Pro 250cc, sponsored by Tucson ATV and Cycle and Tough Off-Road. Rick Clark driving number 8. Rick sponsored by Spark Cycle. Number 8 quad of Rick Clark. You're on.
Well, Jack, this is the final race for these guys this year. They've been here all year. We ran 8 or 9 shows. They put on a super support. I think it'll really get better next year. The quads have been putting on a heck of a show, but we got their 4 final races for the 87 season here right now. We got the big 4-foot Miller Highlight trophies out front. It's going to be presented right after this. They're going to tally the points, and right now I bet they're all excited.
I'll bet they are too.
Going to be the champion.
Well, Pat Kazaar waves the green flag, and we'll just have to wait and see who the champion is as they head in and out of the hairpins. And there's a green one out in front, and looks like number 121, and that's what I figured, of Richard Beckett. Richard Beckett out in front once again, and look at that, almost ditto with Rick Clark in number 8 in second place. 51 of Troy Bell holding on to third position right now. Richard Beckett in 121 being challenged by Rick Clark. Rick Clark on the outside, Beckett on the inside. Beckett takes the low road, Clark takes the high road, and let's see who's going to be the victor on this one as they head through the hairpins.
Well,
Go ahead, Dave.
I'm just going to say, Jack, these two guys have sure put on a show this year, haven't they?
All year long, they've really put on a show. And they can drive those machines, too. You can bet they'll be back out here next year putting on another show for you here at Raven. Troy Bell holding on to third position. And Beckett and Clark, the battle goes on. Right now, Clark pours it on, and he's side by side on the outside of Beckett. And let's see what happens in through the hairpins, but Beckett holds on to the lead. Beckett pours it on down toward that last hairpin. Clark also pouring it on. Beckett comes out of the hairpin clean and green. So does Rick Clark. Two of our top contenders here in the quad division at Raven Raceway this year. Okay, let's see what happens. Beckett takes the center of the racetrack. Clark takes the outer perimeter. And here they go, headed into the hairpins again. Clark likes that outside. Now they're side by side once again. Head through that first hairpin. Clark jumps out in front just for a second. Beckett takes it back. Seesawing back and forth. Here they go through the next hairpin. Now Beckett still holding on to the lead. Troy Bell in number 51 in second position. Third position, I should say. Everybody's spreading out quite a bit on the track. Looks like Pat Hanning jumping into third position with Troy Bell and 51 falling back into fourth. Rick Clark, your current leader, and Richard Beckett in 121 falling back into second place as Pat Kazaar puts out the halfway mark. And 50% of this one in the books right now. Halfway insignia or halfway flags crossed, and that means halfway through this one. But Rick Clark, and the only closest quad to him right now, and number 121 of Richard Beckett. Pat Hanning holding on to third place, and Troy Bell in fourth. Rick Clark, your leader in that number 8 quad. Beckett in number 21. There's Clark right now, your leader, that yellow quad. Up over that jump he goes. There's the closest quad right to him, number 121 of Richard Beckett. Now, they were running very close to each other earlier part of this race. Something happened to Beckett as he fell way back behind Clark. Pat Hanning in 68, holding on to 3rd place. Your yellow quad coming down the front straightaway. That's Rick Clark, Spark Cycles, number 8. He's your leader. Right there he is in front of your flag, man. The closest quad to him is that green machine of number 121, that Raven Raceway sponsorship of Richard Beckett. Pat Hanning in 68 putting on a charge, but he's got his work cut out for him if he's going to catch Beckett or Clark. Because right now they're all spread out all over the racetrack. Troy Bell in 51, holding on to 4th. And not too much longer left in this one. Mr. Kazaar will be picking up the white flag, and yes, he does, has it in his hand. And Richard Beckett, if he can hold on to it, will win himself another one. White flag comes out for your leader, the bike number 8 of Richard Beckett. Or Rick Clark, rather, and Richard Beckett in 2nd place. Doesn't look like he's going to catch Clark. Checkered flag in the hand of flagman Pat Kazaar. Your leader, that number 8 machine, Rick Clark. The Spark Cycles bike, everybody else getting the white flag. Rick Clark will get the checkered flag if he can just hold on a little while longer. Here he comes down the front straightaway. He looks like he's going to get it. Bike number 8, quad number 8, Rick Clark wins it with Richard Beckett winding up with the checkered flag for 2nd place. Unofficially, Pat Hanning in 68 in 3rd, and Troy Bell in quad number 51 in 4th. Here we get set up and ready for our last off-road race of the year for Don Colt in number 35, the Pro Class, sponsored by Black Dynamic Engines, Oracle, and Wetmore Car Wash. Ed Martinson in number 57, Ed sponsored by Martinson Enterprises. Mike Williams in number 22, sponsored by Off-Road Buggy Supplies, Black Dynamic Astrolite, and Trick Racing Gas. Frank Granados, sponsored by Al's VW, Raven Raceway, and Loose Dirt. Says Pat Patterson looks at him. Dick Patterson eyeballs him once again. John Brockmorton, Brad Campbell, Tim Knight, green flag. Dick Patterson flies him through into the first turn. If I'm not mistaken, that looks like number 35 of Don Colt taking an early lead in the first place. Here comes Colt, leading them on through the hairpins. Colt opens it up just a little bit. He's got company with number 14 of Tim Knight. And Tim Knight being overtaken by, looks like, 105 of Brad Campbell, I believe. Let's see how they fare as they come down the front straightaway. Colt in the lead right now, being challenged by Tim Knight at 14. And Tim being overtaken by Brad Campbell in 105. And the battle goes on for second position. Don Colt in 35, leading another one here at Raven. Brad Campbell in 105, being overtaken by Tim Knight in number 14. No, he wasn't. Looked like Knight was going to get him, but he couldn't quite lunge in front of him. Don Colt, your leader. This car coming down the front straightaway. Brad Campbell, the closest man to him in that Ernest & Ernest VW Auto Recycler car. Tim Knight in third. Frank Granados of the Burrito Brothers Racing Team holding on to fourth place. And Mike Williams at number 22 in fifth. Dick Patterson holding out the green flag. Uh-oh, looks like Tim Knight off the racetrack, but gets her back on. Nope, that wasn't Tim Knight. That was Brad Campbell in 105. Knight challenging him, though. Knight right on his rear coming out of that hairpin. Campbell up on his side, kicks the dust up into Tim Knight's face. And boy, that must really bother him. Don Colt opening up the gap from Brad Campbell. Tim Knight trying to catch Brad Campbell in that 105 machine. Brad driving and Tim Knight driving number 14. Colt all alone in the lead coming out of the hairpin. Dick Patterson keeps his eye on the field. Can Brad Campbell in number 105 close it up anymore? Hey, look at that. Tim Knight being challenged by Frank Granados in number 12. Off-road racing at the widest 3/8 in the West. Miller Championship on a Sunday afternoon. Colt still your leader. The closest man to him is that 105 machine. And let's see that. Look at the way Mr. Campbell can really come in and out of that hairpin. Well, that time it sort of stalled on him coming out of the hairpin. But now he's got it back and pushing it real hard. Halfway for Don Colt and the rest of them. Pat Kazaar crisscrosses the flag and halfway through this one. Only 70 more laps to go. Okay, just kidding. Don Colt, your current leader in this one. And Don, every time he's been out here this year, you can look up front and see that car number 35 right up front. The Pro Rail Black Dynamic Engines Oregon Wetmore Car Wash of Don Colt. Uh-oh. It's getting awfully muddy over there at that last turn before the front straightaway. And Don Colt almost losing it coming out of the hairpin. Tim Knight also getting a little wobbly there. Frank Granados looks like having some kind of mechanical difficulty. Frank pouring it on, then all of a sudden stalling, taking the outer portion of the racetrack up against the outer berm, headed toward the hairpin. Tim Knight in 14th, still holding on to third position. Mike Williams jumping up in front of Granados in number 22. Mike in fourth place, Granados in fifth. And uh-oh, Granados, something's wrong with that automobile because he just doesn't look as good as he did at the beginning of this one, being lapped by car number 14, Tim Knight. 105 pours it on, desperately trying to catch up to that number 35 machine. But time's running out in this one for Mr. Brad Campbell in 105. He's got his work cut out. Colt's going to either have to spin out or have some mechanical problem for Brad to catch him, because time running out, and I see the white flag in the hand of Dick Patterson. White flag comes out for Don Colt in number 35. And Brad Campbell will also get the white flag. One more time around for Mr. Colt. If he can just hold on, he's going to have this one in the bag. And all the proceeds from this race and all the off-road racing today going to the Arizona Home for Children. And thanks to all these guys for the great effort that they put on this year. Tim Knight also getting the white flag. White flag comes out for Mike Williams at number 22. One more time around for him. Here comes your leader around the last turn, headed for home, headed for the checkered flag. Dick Patterson waves it, and Don Colt wins it in car number 35, the Black Dynamic Engines Oracle and Wetmore Car Wash car. Winds up the victor with Brad Campbell in 105. The Ernest and Ernest VW Auto Recycler car holding on the second position. Tim Knight in number 14, headed for the checkered flag, trying to stay out of the way of Frank Granatus in number 12. Tim Knight winds up in third. Mike Williams in number 22 looks like he's going to get fourth. And Frank Granatus winds up in fifth place. At least he finished the race. Let's give him a good hand, folks. The car number 35, Don Colt. You married the last one? Well, here we go in the green flag racing with the motorcycles. And this is their last race of this year. And let's see who's out in the lead. Oh, it's number 129 of Don Ziff. And Don being challenged by Stacy Miller in number 48. And where is Matt McGinnis at? Let's see where Matt is at right now. Matt is right behind the rest of them. And that 00, Matt holding on to third position. And Matt being challenged by number 48 of Stacy Miller. 1, 2, 3, Zip, Miller, McGinnis. That's how they stack up the first three. Hey, there's number 6 again. Or is it number 60? Your leader, number 129, Don Ziff. In second position is 00, Matt McGinnis once again. Here they come down the front straightaway. Ziff opens up the gap between McGinnis. Number 6 in third position of Joe Reed. 48, Stacy Miller in fourth, and Larry Jeffers holding on to fifth. Ziff and McGinnis battling it out for number 1 position. Ziff trying to open it up. McGinnis trying to close it up. Ziff out of the hairpins along with McGinnis and Reed and Miller and Jeffers. Ziff being challenged by McGinnis once again. Oh, look at that. Ziff takes up on the berm, kicks the dust up in McGinnis's face, and leads him on. Don Ziff, number 129, your leader, but he's got a lot of company with McGinnis, Reed, Miller, and Jeffries right behind him, or I should say Jeffers. Bobby Taylor's out there. Or is he in the next one? Nope, I believe Bobby's out there, number 19. Toward the rear of the pack. Oh, we've got one down there at the last turn. And he runs out of the way. Oh, thank goodness for that. Yellow flag out in that corner, and they're still trying to get him. And who is that? That is down over there. Let's put the glasses on him. Quite all right. Number 234, that's Kenton Watts taking a spill at that last turn. And let's hope Kenton's okay. I believe he is. Your leader still is number 129, of Don Zip. Joe Reed in that number 6 bike leaping into second position. Number 53, Larry Jeffers, now in third. Number 48, Stacy Miller, moving up toward the front. Oh, we've got another one down at the hairpin. As they all get bottled up at the last hairpin, coming down the front straightaway. Bobby Taylor taking a spill over by the double tires. Bobby sponsored by Tucson ATV and Cycle. 129 is your leader. 00 in second position of Matt McGinnis. Joe Reed falls back into third. 00 moving up into second. Don Ziff holding on to that number 1 position throughout the whole front of this race. But 00 starting to make his move on Mr. Ziff. And now 00 taking the high road along with Ziff. Ziff takes the high road, so does McGinnis. Here they come down the front straightaway, side by side, and McGinnis overtakes Don Ziff on the outside. But Ziff hangs on the inside, but McGinnis winds up in front with Ziff falling back in the second position. Joe Reed in number 6 in third, and Larry Jeffers in 53, jumping up in front of Joe Reed in that number 53 machine. Bruce Barr in number 60 in fourth, and Stacy Miller falling back into 5th place. Bruce in 5th, rather, and Miller in 6th. There's your leader, 00, Matt McGinnis. There's your second place bike, number 129, Don Ziff, trying to catch back up to McGinnis. Larry Jeffers in 3rd position. Joe Reed in 4th, Stacy Miller winding up in 5th right now, and Bruce Burr in number 60 in 6th. Your leader out of the hairpins and down that center straightaway. White flag in the hand of Pat Kazaar for one more lap to go for that man and the rest of them. Matt McGinnis, the number 00 machine, and Matt looking for victory and seeing checkered the next time around if he can just hang on one more lap. Don Ziff will not catch McGinnis unless McGinnis has some kind of problem. But McGinnis looking real good out on the racetrack, headed through the last 2 hairpins. Matt McGinnis, your leader. Don Ziff in 2nd. Larry Jeffers in 3rd. Joe Reed in 4th. Stacy Miller in 5th. And Bruce Burr in number 60 in 6th place. Your leader heads out of the last hairpin, up to the last 2 corners, and down the front straightaway. Here he comes, Matt McGinnis in 00 for the checkered flag from Pat Kazaar, and he gets it and wins another one. Bike number 00, Matt McGinnis. Don Ziff also over the last jump for the checkered flag, winds up in 2nd. Larry Jeffers in number 53 in 3rd. Joe Reed winds up in 4th. Stacy Miller in 5th. And Bruce Burr in number 60 winds up in 6th place. So another victory for 00 Matt McGinnis. So stick around, folks. We've got 2 more events. Then stick around and watch the Titanic's going to be out here on the off-road course. And then stick around for those trophy presentations. That means a lot to these fellas. Green flag flies once again from Pat Kazaar. And here we go back in the racing action on the off-road course. Number 49 jumps right out in front and holds on to it and leads him through the last 2 hairpins. Number 49 is your leader, followed by number 17, 82, 255, 62, and 311. 49, Carlos Serrano, the Eastside Cycles, Serrano Ranch and Feed, and Malcolm Smith sponsor, is your leader. Number 17, John Beaver in 2nd position. Bob McKinney, number 62, in 3rd. as Carlos up front once again. Carlos from Tucson in number 49. Carlos looking real good coming out of that hairpin. So does John Beaver and Bob McKinney in number 62. McKinney and Beaver battling out for second place. Beaver going high. Also McKinney riding the berm. Up on top they go and down toward the front straightaway and up over the jumps. Number 17, John Beaver really flies over that center straightaway obstacle jump. Kent Nichols in 311 holding on to fourth position. Fifth place. 255 in fourth place. Kent Nichols in fifth. Carlos Serrano in 49, your leader, with John Beaver and Bob McKinney holding on to second and third. Cass Morgan in 255 hanging on to fourth. Your leader right there in front of you, number 49. And look at that. Beaver going to be challenged by Bob McKinney once again in number 62. And don't count out Cass Morgan in number 255 because Cass Morgan is right on their rear. Single file in through the hairpins they go. Kent Nichols in 311 in fifth place. Willie Guerrar in 321 from Marana, Arizona, holding on to sixth. Your leader has somewhat of a comfortable lead, but look at the battle going on between McKinney and Beaver. McKinney and Beaver headed for the last turn. Up on the berm they go, riding high, and then bringing it back down the center of the racetrack. Beaver holding on, and the battle comes up with Morgan Cass trying to overtake Bob McKinney in number 62, and McKinney and Cass are side by side headed to the hairpins with Beaver right up in front of them. Serrano with a comfortable lead in that number 49 machine, and now here we've got three of them. You could take a blanket and throw over all three of those bikes between Beaver, McKinney, and Cass Morgan. Out of the last hairpins they come. Beaver still holding on to second position. McKinney and number 62 and Morgan battling it out right now. Here they come down the front straightaway up against the berm. Bring it back down the center. Up over the jumps they go. Number 255, Morgan overtaking McKinney in those hairpins in that number 255 machine. McKinney in number 62. And McKinney falling back. And now Morgan making a move on Mr. Beaver in 17. And Beaver falling back all the way to fourth position. Your leader still, number 49, Carlos Serrano. And Carlos opening it up just a little bit more. But now Morgan Cass, or Cass Morgan in 255, that 125cc, making his way up toward Carlos Serrano.
For some information on Carlos, Jack, Carlos might be one of the best desert riders that's ever come out of Tucson, Arizona. He's run all the 1,000, he's run the 500 races in Mexicali's, and he's a fierce competitor out there on them long races. And I believe this is the first time he's ever been here to run this course.
Boy, he's sure proven that today, Dave. He's come all the way up from the back, and now he's up in the second position in 255. These guys drive out in the desert, I understand, quite a bit. And they get some good practice out there. The only obstacle they have out there besides here is the cactus.
Carlos is riding a brand new bike today, from what I understand. It's a brand new Yamaha out of Eastside Cycle, which has done a lot of sponsorship with Carlos over the years. He's also got an off-road car now, too.
Oh, good. We'll see him out here next year on the off-road course. Well, Carlos still your current leader. Pat Kazaar still holding out that green flag for the rest of them, with Cass Morgan in 255 putting a charge on. There's your leader right there in front of Mr. Kazaar, your flag man. There's your second place bike, Cass Morgan in number 255. There's your third place, number 62 of Bob McKinney. John Beaver falling back all the way back to fourth place, and Beaver right up toward the front at the beginning. We've got one stalled over there right at the last hairpin. It's Willie Guerrar in 321, the Ultimate Cycle Works bike, but Willie gets it back under his own power. Your leader, number 49, gets the white flag from Pat Kazaar, along with Cass Morgan and number 255. White flag lap for number 62 of Bob McKinney. That means one more time around for Carlos Serrano and number 49 if he can just hang on. He's going to be the victor of this motorcycle race. There's John Beaver in 4th place, Kent Nichols in 5th, and Hap Reese in number 27A in 4th place. It's okay. Number 49, headed for the checkered flag in victory, and he'll be in victory lane. Carlos Serrano wins it. Bike number 49, Cass Morgan in number 255, winds up in 2nd place. Bob McKinney in number 62 holds on to 3rd. John Beaver brings it up in 4th. Hap Reese in 27A in 5th, and Kent Nichols in number 311 in 6th place. And a 36.97 hundredths for Carlos Serrano on one of those laps. Not a bad time for Carlos. In fact, a mighty good time. Let's give him a good hand, folks. Carlos Serrano at number 49. These USAC midgets run. Be out here next Friday night. Come on out early. Take a blanket, head for Stomper Hill. We've got Roger McCluskey going to be out here at the Roger McCluskey Classic. It's a national point show. We've got many of the top drivers throughout all the United States. Many of the Indianapolis 500, well, a couple of them, Vogler and Fox, will be out here racing. So plan to be out here next Friday night. That's Friday night, a double star show. The Titanic's Revenge is a 526 CI methanol injected Ford, and it's going to be out here right after this race. And please stick around for the trophy presentation. Ron Dalkey in number 111. Ron, sponsored by Gannon, Gragging, and Tough Off-Road. John Martinson out there in 57. Pete Corwin in 35. John Nault in 33. Larry Vitito back out in number 199. Larry going up on his lid a little bit earlier this afternoon. Robert Giblin in 617. Ron Colucci in 908, Kent Henderson in 07, John Sprocket in 28, and I hope it's not Brockett, but we're going to call you Sprocket anyway. Dave Anderson in 3, Tony Hooper in number 50, Craig Granados, the Burrito Brothers Racing Team in 12, and Ted Klein in 218. So Dick Patterson will be your flag man for this last off-road racing event for the 1987 season. Patterson waves the green flag. Here we go with number 33 being bumped. That's John Nault, but John gets it back down the center of the racetrack, and John jumps out into an early lead in that number 33 machine. John Nault, a sportsman, in the lead as he leads him on down through the hairpins. Looks like number 57 once again in 2nd place. And 57, is that 57? Looks like 57, maybe it's not. Who is that? Pete Corwin in 35? Pete Corwin jumping out in front of Nault. And Nault holding on to 2nd place. And Nault gonna have to really pour it on because Corwin looking awfully good out there this afternoon. So Nault falling back into 3rd. Number 50, holding on to 3rd position. That's Tony Hooper. Hooper in 3rd. Nault in 2nd, and Corwin out in front. And we've got one awry. Looks like Mr. Granados, I believe, over there. Yep, number 12, Greg Granados. Having a little problem over there at that one hairpin. Pete Corwin in 35, currently your leader. John Nault in 33 in 2nd. Corwin leads him down the front straightaway. Nault in 2nd, and look at this, number 218. Is he our 3rd place car? Ted Klein looks like jumping out in front of Mr. Hooper in that number 218. Pete Corwin in 35, leading it all right now. The closest man to him is John Nault, number 33. Ted Klein in 3rd, Tony Hooper in 4th, Larry Vitito in 5th, and Ron Dalkey in number 111 in 6th position. Your leader down the front straightaway is Pete Corwin in number 35. There's your 2nd place car, John Nault in number 33. Dave Anderson in that number 3 car right behind Ron Dalkey in number 111. Kent Henderson in 07 behind Anderson. Giblin behind Henderson, and Colucci bringing up the rear in number 908. Green flag still flies all around the racetrack. No yellows, not very many yellows this afternoon. Corwin holding on to a comfortable lead. There's your leader right there. Halfway marker out by Dick Patterson, our flagman. And halfway goes out to John Nole in number 33, and he's got his work cut out for him if he's going to catch Corwin in 35. Your third place car now is Tony Hooper in number 50, and Ted Klein in 218 falls back into fourth. Vitito hanging right in there behind Klein in 218. Corwin winning it all this afternoon, and that number 35 off-road vehicle. We've got number 12, Greg Granados, number 12, the Raven Raceway Al's VW loose dirt car, up on the berm with the yellow flag out over there at that last corner. And up over the jumps they go. Oh, we've got our leader up on his lid. John Nole on his lid, or on the side anyway. And the yellow flag comes out in that corner. Look out for Mr. Nole. And he's got some smoke pouring out from that vehicle. And let's get the fire crew over there and get him back up on his wheel. Yellow flag out. And that part of the racetrack. So let's see, they've got him back over. Let's hope he's okay. That was your leader, John Nole. Or second place car, I should say, John Nole. And look at that, folks. Back under his own power and back racing again, but bringing up the rear this time and being lapped. White flag out for number 35, Pete Corwin. Tony Hooper in second position. Ted Klein in third. Larry Vitito in fourth. Ron Donkey in fifth. Robert Giblin in sixth. Dave Anderson in seventh. Ron Colucci in eighth. Greg Granados bringing up the rear. And 33 is a lap car. Oh my goodness, look at the dust fly. We've got another yellow flag out. Granados up on the berm. White flag out for the rest of these. Pete Corwin in 35. Gonna win it all if he can just hang on. It looks like he does. Checkered flag flies for Pete Corwin in number 35. Tony Hooper in second with that car number 50. Ted Klein winds up in third. Larry Vitito in fourth. Robert Giblin in fifth. Dave Anderson in sixth. Ron Delkey in seventh. Ron Colucci in eighth. And bringing up the rear, John Nole in number 33. Good job for Pete Corwin. Stick around, folks. We've got more action for you. We've got one of the Mudbogs cars going to be out here, the Titanic's Revenge. Going to take a couple of laps here on the off-road course. Titanic's Revenge. Pete Corwin wins it. Okay, the Titanic's Revenge is a 526 CI methanol injected Ford. It's a mid-engine motor in the cab. Doesn't have a blower or no nitrous oxide like so many of the other ones do. The vehicle weight is 5,600 pounds. Each tire weighs 300 pounds, and some of these trucks tires weigh over 500 pounds each. And Titanic will follow the off-road course and to check his usability of the course for these big trucks, because we're going to have them all out here on December 5th and 6th. So plan to be out here for the Budweiser Mudbogs. Speaking of beer, thanks to Miller. This is the Miller Off-Road Sunday Championship at the racetrack right now. And he's going to be putting on a little bit of a demonstration for us. Look at those tires, would you? Over 300 pounds a 526 cubic inch methanol injected Ford mid-engine. Wonder if we could get him to slide around. Well, the sponsors for Titanic's Revenge are Herman's Automatics, Les Black Dynamic Engines, and Lizard Chassis. Well, let's thank them by a round of applause. Titanic's Revenge. Let's let them hear it, folks. Thanks for coming, Titanic's Revenge. I think if I owned that vehicle and had a flat tire, I'd cry. 'Cause I don't think I'd know where to take it to get it fixed. Well, it looks like he's going to check the course out a little bit before he gets a little anxious. Find out where all the jumps are at. Titanic's Revenge. Automatics. Well, what he's doing right now, he's checking out the course, and they've got an awfully short turning radius. So he's checking the course out so we can see what we can do to make the course a little bit better, and so they'll be able to turn these vehicles in and out of these corners. They've got a modified radius on these things, and they just don't go around the corners like the stock cars or the midgets do. Titanic's Revenge. And you can bet your bottom dollar that he's going to be doing some revenge. And that's Jim Winey piloting that vehicle around the course. And don't think they're going to be driving this slow when they come out here. I want to tell you right now, he's just checking the course out, getting a feel of it, seeing what he can do. Go! Boom! Over the bump he goes. Oh, look out, Jim. Now, did he do that on purpose? I think he did.
These trophies. We're going to pass out 120 of them.
Yeah.
Shit, I don't know that much.
Got the special gender
Other ones, the vehicle weighs 5,600 pounds. Each tire weighs 300 pounds, and some of these trucks have tires that weigh
outside the right upright. However, the weight of the non-victory can barely be laid on Costin's shoulders. Washington themselves blew 3 field goals, 2 blocked, that would have eliminated any such last-minute suspense to begin with. Well, not all Tucsonans were sitting inside today amid the glow of gridiron TV. A number of them created their own excitement outdoors at the racetrack. Raven Raceway, abuzz with excitement on a beautiful fall afternoon.
Well, most of the people that are out here actually are like your guys, like your next door neighbor and the guy who lives the other side of the wall from you. We all enjoy racing. We like to come out here, and it's a good, safe atmosphere to race at. We have ambulances out here in case anybody gets hurt, and it's on a closed course competition time.
Through today's event, the racers have also reached out to the community.
The race today is for the Arizona Children's Home, and what it is the children are our sponsors today. So we've given all the children here T-shirts, and sodas and hot dogs. And at the end of the race, when each respective rider finishes, is that he will be trophied and he will give his trophy to his sponsor, the kid. So then all the little children are going to go home with, you know, full belly T-shirts and trophies today.
A fine time of dirt-spitting, high-revving excitement put on by Arizonans, as Chris said, just like you and me, right? But for those of us still a little squeamish about the possibility of dirtying ourselves, there's always remote control to the rescue. I had to include that those little kids were playing with those remote controls. They're really nice. Those things are fun. And like you said, you can tumble over and not get a jarred back.
Best driving I've seen you do.
Thanks, Bill.
When we come back, it's called Natural Medicine.
And it involves